What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Nick and Joe podcast. I'm your favorite co-host, Nick, and today I am flying solo. So Joe has a lot going on right now, so it's just going to be me today. Today is going to be a lot different from what you guys are used to seeing, but it's going to be a really cool episode. I'm actually very excited about this episode because it is very personal to me. It touches on actually why I started streaming and what kept me from streaming for such a long time, and something that I suspect keeps a lot of you from streaming as well. Or if you are streamers, that keeps you from being a really great streamer, that keeps you from being yourself and who you really want to be as a streamer. So today's episode is going to be a lot about social anxiety. It's going to be about guilt and fear, worry about the way that others perceive you, worry about being embarrassed or having conflict. And it's going to be about not being nice, which sounds, you guys are probably skeptical hearing that, right? Not being nice. What does that mean? Why would I not want to be nice? Because it makes so much sense to be nice. We are, so deeply ingrained in being nice and being kind to one another. And it's so important. It is so important to love and appreciate and accept others. But nice is a little bit different from that. So today we're going to talk about the difference between being nice versus being kind, compassionate, loving, accepting, and why being nice might actually harm you as a streamer. So I'm going to read a quote from a book that I've been reading called Not Nice: Stop People Pleasing, Staying Silent, and Feeling Guilty, and Start Speaking Up, Saying No, Asking Boldly, and Unapologetically Being Yourself. This book is by Dr. Aziz Gazipura, and I highly recommend this book if you have social anxiety or if you just want to feel more comfortable streaming. But I am going to read an excerpt just so that you kind of have the idea of what the difference is between nice versus not nice. What is nice? Being nice is monitoring yourself to make sure you come across in a pleasing manner and don't offend anyone. It's making sure others like you and don't have any negative feelings. No upset, confusion, boredom, irritation, sadness, hurt, anger, or fear. No discomfort whatsoever. Just happy, positive, approving thoughts and feelings. At its core, being nice is about being liked by others and by making everything smooth. No waves, no friction. The opposite of nice is being real. It's being direct, honest, and truthful. It's saying what you really think, expressing how you really feel, and sharing what's true for you in that moment. This authenticity allows others to see and know the real you, which allows you to really feel love and connection. Not nice means speaking up and asserting yourself, your opinions, ideas, and desires. It's challenging others when you disagree, standing behind your convictions, and being willing to have difficult conversations. You do this because you want full contact with life and other humans instead of hiding who you are behind a polite wall of fear. When you do have conflict or disagreement, and you inevitably will if you're being not nice, then you are as vulnerable, skillful, and compassionate as you can be in your communications. The opposite of nice is knowing who you are, what you believe in, and what you value. It's you being powerful and going after what you want because you are no longer held back by the fear of what others will think of you. It's you being fierce, determined, and courageous. It's you being your best self. That means that you're still kind, caring, attentive, generous, and loving. You still do things for other people, stretch yourself to give, even if it's hard, and be the kind of leader, mother, father, wife, husband, daughter, son, sister, brother, or friend that you want to be. But you're not doing that to please others. You're not doing that so that no one ever feels a hint of discomfort. You're not living in fear of what others will think and self-doubt in, was that good enough, and did everyone there like me? You come from a place of power, of choice. I can choose to say yes, and I can choose to say no. I can hold back and keep quiet, or I can ask a tough question that challenges someone. If someone close to me is doing something that annoys me, I can bring it up and talk about it. When I really want something and the first response I get is no, I ask questions to see if the other person is open to changing their mind. I'm completely free to choose exactly how I want to be in this moment based on what feels right to me. I am the decider. I am the creator of my life. I no longer avoid, walk on eggshells, tiptoe around, or do the dance. I am me, the real me, and it feels good. I feel powerful. I feel free. I feel worthy. So now that I've read that excerpt, hopefully you have a little bit of a better idea of what we mean by being not nice. And this whole episode today is going to focus around that. But before we get into that, a little bit more of a backstory. And I don't want to talk too much about myself because this episode really is about bringing you guys value, bringing you guys content, helping you be a better streamer. But I don't think my story is particularly unique. I don't think I'm the only one who felt this way or who has had issues with this. And I'm hoping that someone out there will connect with this and hopefully see that you can stream regardless of your social anxiety. So when I started streaming back October of 2019, I had social anxiety very, very badly. And I still do suffer from social anxiety. I still have troubles with certain things. I have issues with confrontation more so than being embarrassed. I'm okay with embarrassing myself, but returning a product to the store makes me really anxious. Having to tell someone that my order was wrong makes me anxious. Telling them that I didn't like what I ordered makes me anxious. So anything that is kind of conflict or hurting somebody else's feelings, even though it might not hurt their feelings. But I perceive that it will. I feel a little bit of guilt about that. So that's kind of what I have been going through since I was a kid. I've had social anxiety for a very, very long time. And I've always had the people that are close to me tell me, you should be a streamer. You should be a streamer. And I was so anxious about that. I was anxious because I've never liked putting my voice out there. I've never liked stating my opinions or talking too much or having the spotlight on me because I was always worried about saying the wrong thing or upsetting someone. I felt a bit guilty or self-centered. There were just a lot of feelings around speaking up for myself and speaking about the things that mattered to me and the things that I wanted in life. And I suspect a lot of you probably feel that way. I know social anxiety is a very common disorder. We all, I think, have it a bit to varying degrees. It's very much like a spectrum. So some people maybe get a little bit anxious when they are in situations where you should be anxious. For example, maybe asking your boss for a raise. Maybe you'll be anxious there. But then other people are anxious, for example, returning products to a store, just returning something, saying that they didn't like it. So there are varying degrees. And then there are, of course, some people who are so anxious that they can't leave their house. So yeah, just like any other emotion or mental health aspect, it is very much on a spectrum. Some people have it in normal amounts. Some people, it goes well above that. And I know for me, it goes well above that, and probably for some of you as well. But of course, I am a streamer. So just because you're suffering from social anxiety does not mean you cannot be a streamer. You absolutely can. So when I first started, I actually had to take Valium to stream. And for those of you who don't know what Valium is, it's an anti-anxiety medication. So I was so scared. I was so scared that I actually had to take something to bring that fear level down to manageable levels so that I would be able to stream. And of course, I did this with my psychiatrist. So don't just go out trying to take something to make yourself feel better. Of course, talk to your psychiatrist about this. Taking an anti-anxiety before doing something that makes you anxious is a type of exposure therapy. So if you are anxious about something, for example, streaming, or, another way that I've used this is needles. I used to be really scared of needles. Certainly talk to your psychiatrist because that is an option. So yeah, I'm going to assume that you guys are already streamers and that maybe you aren't sharing enough of yourself. You feel uncomfortable. You aren't really fully putting yourself out there. Maybe you're worried about upsetting someone, losing even just one member of your community. Maybe you are obsessively checking your numbers and you're kind of worried about that. Maybe you said the wrong thing or did the wrong thing. And so that's mostly who I'm going to be targeting with today's episode, is talking to you guys. But I did want to share my backstory in case you are watching this and you've always wanted to be a streamer, but you're nervous, you're not quite there yet. It's absolutely doable. You will have to do some hard work, some exposure therapy. You're going to feel uncomfortable. If you need something to take the edge off, certainly talk to your psychiatrist or your therapist. But yeah, today's episode is mostly going to be targeting people who are already there, but not quite where they want to be. All right, so let's talk about not nice. The purpose of being not nice is to not let guilt or fear run your life. It's not saying yes to things that you want to say no to. It's not holding back your opinions so that you don't upset somebody or so that you keep community members. And I think the biggest draw of being not nice, of being more authentic and being more yourself, is that it will actually help you grow your community. you will appeal to less people while appealing to more people, believe it or not. And what I mean by that is when you're more yourself, when you are more authentic and more talking about the things that are true to you, yeah, there's going to be some people who don't like you. There's going to be some people who your content's not for, who are going to leave, who might say something mean about you. But simultaneously, there are going to be people who identify more with you, who connect more with you, who feel really comfortable in your community and want to be a part of it. So the way that I would think of it is if you are holding yourself back, you're trying to appeal to everyone, trying to be that person whose content is for everyone, and you don't want to upset anyone, and you just want to be really nice and never hurt anybody's feelings, then everyone's going to like you to like this degree, right? They're going to like you. You're okay. No one's going to fall in love with you. No one's going to fall in love with your content is what I mean. You could still have a boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband or whatever. But no one's going to really connect with you on that deep level. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, that's what I think too. And that's how I feel too. And that speaks to me. They're going to kind of be around this baseline of, oh yeah, this person's okay. They're nice. But when you start speaking up, when you start speaking your mind, some people are going to like you even less. They're going to be like, this is not for me. I disagree with that. That doesn't speak to me and my values. But then the people over here are really going to connect with you. They're really going to enjoy what you have to say. They're going to stick around. They're going to be more loyal to your community. They're going to be more dedicated to your community. They're going to really love you and love being in your channel. So that's our goal, because when you keep everyone kind of around here, when you keep everyone at that level of, oh, this person's nice, I enjoy being here, you're never really going to blow up. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's less likely. And as an example of this, think about all of your favorite streamers or all of the big YouTube personalities, all of the big Instagram personalities. They very much have their style, their voice. You know what they stand for. You know what they don't stand for. You kind of know what to expect from their posts or their content. And that's because they're putting themselves out there. You are seeing them as a whole, complete person, as a personality, and you're able to connect with that. Versus if you were to put out like generic statements, generic content, it's not really something that you can feel strongly about because it's not really a strong message. And it's really common as humans to put out a generic message, right? We don't want to upset others. We kind of want to moderate their feelings in a way. We want to make sure they don't feel upset or discomfort or sadness. And we certainly don't want it to be our fault if they do feel that. So by being nice, what we're really trying to do is we're trying to control other people's opinions of us. We're trying to regulate their emotions and control what they feel, while at the same time regulating and controlling what we feel. So a lot of learning to not be nice is letting go and being okay with being disliked and being okay with uncertainty. Because you're not going to know how some of these people really feel. You're not going to know if they're really enjoying themselves or if you've upset them unless they say something to let you know that they've upset them, which most people don't. And you're going to have to be okay with that. And as someone with social anxiety, I know that's so hard, because what I tend to do, and what I suspect a lot of you tend to do, is internalize things. So if you've said something and somebody else gets hurt and it's obvious that you've hurt their feelings, you tend to want to blame yourself for everything. You tend to be like, I shouldn't have said that. That was really mean. Or, well, it wasn't mean, but clearly it was wrong. And maybe you don't understand why. You just know it was because you've hurt someone. But what a lot of us with social anxiety don't think about in those moments is that we're trying to regulate somebody else's emotions, but maybe what we said is perfectly fine. Maybe what we said is actually not offensive. And they just have a particular, soft spot to that. So as an example, let's say that my fiance Snack Daddy wore a red shirt and he was feeling kind of down about himself that day. He was not feeling very attractive, not feeling very good. He was kind of in a rut, and he bought this new beautiful red shirt and he was wearing it. And he was like, what do you think? And I was like, it's a nice shirt. I don't think red's your color. I think there's other things that look better on you. Well, he's already feeling down. Maybe he, takes that to heart. Maybe it makes him feel even worse. And as someone with social anxiety, your first instinct is to be like, oh gosh, I shouldn't have said that. That was so mean. I should have just pretended I liked it. But that's not true to you. That's not telling your truth. And in a way, it's a little bit mean to hold back your truth just to lessen that blow, because for one, you're not being honest with that person. You want to be honest. For two, you aren't trusting that they're able to handle themselves and handle their emotions. You're kind of treating them like they're fragile. And that's a little bit, rude in its own way. And this is going to happen a lot as a streamer. You're going to say something and it might upset someone. It might make them feel really crummy. But we need to stop trying to control other people's perceptions of us and other people's emotions. And I actually think that this is a really good topic to talk about today, because there's a lot going on in the world right now. And a lot of us are not sure what we should say, if we should state our opinion. There's a lot of talk about what's okay to talk about on Twitch. What's okay to talk about on Twitch? Can you talk about politics? Can you talk about, the things that you're passionate about activism wise? Like what is okay and what is too far? And it's kind of considered taboo to talk about some of these topics, but I don't think it should be or needs to be. Now, that's also a personal choice. I will say it's a personal choice. I don't like talking politics in my channel. I don't like talking religion in my channel, just because I don't think it's very productive. Typically, you're not going to sway a person one way. You're not going to change anybody's opinion. It's just going to be people kind of fighting against each other. And so we kind of avoid those topics, because I don't really feel like most of the time they're not productive. They can certainly be productive or interesting to learn about other people's religions or points of view. They certainly can be interesting, but that's not something that I try to do so much with my channel. But I do like talking about the things that I'm passionate in other ways. So I like talking a lot about animals. I care very much about animals. I care about the planet. I care about people being kind and compassionate and accepting to each other. And that's something that I'm totally okay with talking about. And we also talk a little bit about existential stuff in my channel, because I love talking about that stuff. I don't know why. We always get onto these conversations about physics and philosophy and ethics, and that's stuff that could really upset someone. And it's stuff that could not go over so well. Somebody might come to my channel and say, this is not what I came to Twitch for. I came to be entertained by a game. I didn't come to talk philosophy and physics and ethics. And yet, when we have these conversations, my chat and my numbers are popping. And it's because the people who really like that stuff are going to identify more, and they're going to want to speak up. So even if I might be appealing to less people by doing that, again, I'm also appealing to more people. I'm appealing to the right people. So I don't think you should think about it so much as there are taboo topics. Of course, there's TOS. Keep TOS in mind. And you never want to say something that's hateful or bigoted. There is a difference between being not nice and speaking your opinion and being authentic and speaking your truth versus being hateful, being unaccepting. There's a difference there. Being not nice is not synonymous with being a jerk. Don't be a jerk. But I do think that as streamers, we need to talk more about this stuff. And a lot of the big streamers have been. A lot of the big streamers have been talking about their opinions on a lot of the things going on right now. And some people really hate that. Some people are like, you're a streamer. This is not the place. This is not the platform. I come here to be entertained. But there are a lot of people who love it and who say, I'm so glad you're speaking up. I'm so glad you're using your platform to reach more people and do something I wouldn't be able to do. I'm so glad that you're talking about this. So again, the people who don't like that streamer might really be pushed away, but the people who like that streamer are really going to be more vocal. They're going to identify more with that person. They're going to connect. And that's what all of this is about. It's about connection. It's about being able to connect with someone, because if you're not showing your true self, they aren't connecting with you. And people want to connect. That's the whole point of Twitch, right? Like if we wanted to play a video game by ourselves, we would just play a video game by ourselves. We want to connect with other people. So by not putting yourself out there, you're not giving them a chance to connect to anything. And in this book, Not Nice, Aziz talks about how he didn't really feel love for a long time, even though there were people that loved him, because he felt that he wasn't showing his true self. So they didn't really love him. They didn't really know him. And if he did speak up, if he did show them his real self, then suddenly they wouldn't love him anymore. And I think a lot of people with social anxiety do feel that way. very much. You kind of feel alone because you're not really showing anybody that side of you. But the thing is, you're not giving anybody a chance to see that side. And if you did give them a chance, they might react more positively than you ever could have imagined. I really do believe that if you give people a chance to know you, especially on Twitch, your community is going to grow. People are going to love you so much more. You're going to be able to love them. They're going to share their stories. And that's something that actually happened the other day on my channel. I was talking a little bit more about something that was authentic to me. And then there were people in my chat who were also speaking up, who also identified with that. They were like, oh, yeah, that happens to me too. I feel that too. That's something that's true to me too. And if I hadn't have spoken up, they would have never been able to say, oh yeah, I identify with this person. I'm connecting with this person. I feel that too. And not only would they have been less connected to me as a streamer and less involved in the community and feel less a part of the community, or less like, oh, this is safe. This is my home. This is where I feel comfortable. They also might feel alone in their feelings, which is a really crummy feeling. So again, by speaking up, I was able to build a closer bond with someone in my community. And by speaking about this topic today, I'm probably going to get some people who are like, this topic doesn't relate to me. I speak my mind. I'm open. This doesn't even have anything to do with me. I don't understand why this is a problem for other people. But I'm also going to get people who are like, yeah, that's me. That's how I feel. I have a lot of troubles saying no to something that I don't want to do because I feel guilty. I have a lot of troubles saying what I feel because I don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings. You know, anything you put out into the world, you're going to have people who don't like it. You're going to be controversial. And there's no way to avoid that besides not existing or not speaking at all. And even then, you probably could find a way to offend someone. You kind of have to get comfortable with the idea that people aren't going to like you. And it's a really hard idea to get comfortable with, especially when you have social anxiety. But the fact is, just existing, just speaking, just saying hello or how are you doing, you know, just being a human, you're going to not appeal to everyone. You're going to upset someone. You're going to hurt someone's feelings unintentionally. And you have to learn to be okay with that and accept that as part of the human experience and part of existing, because the alternative is just not existing. I mean, really, like the alternative, I would say, is not speaking, but even then, body language, right? So there's just no way around it. You're going to upset someone. And we want to get comfortable with that idea of, well, we're not for everyone. People are going to dislike us, because that's the only way we can find true connection, is by being okay with that. The other thing is, when you have social anxiety or you're overly nice or you're too concerned about somebody else's feelings, you tend to say yes to something you wanted to say no to. And I've suffered a lot from that in my life. It's caused me a lot of issues with previous jobs that I've worked with, overworking myself beyond what is reasonable. I mean, well beyond it. Saying yes to shifts when it needed covered, even though I wanted to say no and was so tired. But in my mind, I was like, well, all I'm going to do is go home and sleep. So I should say yes, because if I don't, everyone else is going to have to deal with being down a person. So, you know, you really sometimes overstretch yourself or say yes to something when you want to say no. And this is a big problem as a streamer, because when you think about it, we all only have limited time. We only have so much time for relationships. So of course we can't be everybody's friend. We can't talk on a one-on-one level to everybody. It's just impossible. Especially think of the big streamers who have thousands of people in their chat. You realistically can't have a friendship with all of those people. You know, there are various, theories that say like, oh, you can only keep so many friendships in your life. You can keep X amount or Y amount. And, you know, I don't know which one's right. I don't know what that number is. It's probably very individualized for each person. But I do know that you can't be everyone's friend. You can't spend time with everyone, or else you're not going to have time to stream. You're not going to have time to do your YouTube videos. You're not going to have time to do all of the things that you want to do, to have some downtime for just you, because you need that. Streaming is very connecting, and it takes a lot out of you to talk constantly and to interact constantly, and you need time for yourself. You know, so sometimes you do want to hang out with people, or you do want to say, yes, I'll do this, or I'll take this on, but don't forget about you time. And when we're overly nice or overly concerned about other people's feelings, we tend to put us on the back burner. So like other people are more important and we're down here, like our me time or whatever it is gets put on the back burner. And that's not, it should be the opposite. That's not the way it should be. Because when you aren't taking care of yourself, then you aren't able to show up and be the person that other people, want to see, right? Other people need you to be. The world needs your voice. The world needs your voice. You're the only one who has your voice. You're the only one who is uniquely you. And we need that. We need diversity in the world. We need to have important conversations and to talk and have diversity. And when you aren't taking care of yourself, you're not able to show up in that way. So saying yes to things you want to say no to is just another symptom of being overly nice. And again, it's not doing you any favors. All right, so we've talked about why being not nice, being more authentic, being more yourself is different from being kind and compassionate and loving. It's also different from being a jerk, because being not nice is not being a jerk. It's not synonymous with that. You can still be kind and loving and compassionate. But to recap, being not nice means being authentically you, knowing that you're going to hurt some people's feelings no matter what you do. It's not intentional, but speaking up for yourself, speaking about the things that you care about, showing up as yourself in this world. It's going to upset some people. You're going to make people feel emotions that you wish you didn't, but that's just part of the human experience. We've also talked about how being yourself opens yourself up for connection with your community. It opens yourself up to having a community, building a bigger community. And yeah, less people are going to like you, while at the same time, more people are going to like you. And I that sounds terrible because it's like so contradictory. I don't know how else to word it. There are going to be people who like you more strongly, but also people who dislike you more strongly. There we go. That's a better way to word that. But that's really important, because when you appeal to everybody, you really are appealing to nobody, and you're never going to build a strong presence. You're never going to build a strong community, and your community is never going to grow and reach those really, really big numbers. We've also talked about how being not nice means saying no, not stretching yourself too thin, not saying yes to something out of guilt, not holding your opinions back out of guilt. And I think all of this is so important for streamers, and not just streamers, content creators, and people in general. Even if you weren't a streamer, this is really important to show up as yourself in the world, because the world really does need your voice. It needs you to be unapologetically you, and to show up and be there. So that's our quick recap. I don't want to make this episode longer than it needs to be. Of course, your time is valuable. I really just want to get the important information to you so that you can do something with it. Again, this episode was inspired by the book Not Nice by Dr. Aziz Gazipura. I highly recommend picking it up. If you guys would like to see more episodes like this, let me know down below in the comments, because I'm still only about a third of the way through this book. So if you want to hear more about how to do this, we've talked today about the why, right? We've talked a lot about why you need to do this, what benefits you'll get from doing this. But if you want to know a little bit more about the why, about the how, then let me know down below in the comments, because I'm happy to keep you guys updated as I learn more and read more about this book. I'll also link the book below in the show notes, because I do think it's something important to pick up for anybody, but especially for people who are trying to build a community and have an online presence. All right, so I think that's it. I think it's everything. And yeah, if you guys have any ideas for content, if there's anything you want to see, anything you want us to talk about, just leave a comment down below. We'd like to bring as much value and help to you guys as possible, and really help you grow as streamers. So comment down below if you have anything that you'd like to see, or if you would like to see another installment to this episode. But other than that, I hope you guys have a really awesome week. Bye.